Mentira fue la tarde tu pasado. Mentira fue la tarde tu pasado.
What is going on, everybody? It's the In the Money DFS podcast. We're here for a Week 10 episode, hosted as always by myself, Justin, and joined by Coach Dan Lamagna, kind of like lasagna. Got to mix it up, Dan. At FF Coach Dan on Twitter, at Justin_FFB on Twitter for me. Follow us there. Subscribe if you guys are new. What's going on, Dan?
Just Week 10, man. Still haven't won the Millie Maker. So I think it's a matter of time. It's overdue here. Had some good picks last week, but you still haven't hit that 19 parlay needed to win that Millie Maker. So this slate's fun coming up. I think our listeners are going to enjoy what we have to talk about tonight. There's a lot of ways you can play the lineup. So, a little Thursday night football first and then ready to dive in.
Yeah, man. I looked at some of the games, some of the pricing. It's going to be a fun week for sure. Last week I had a good GPP week, Dan. I made some money. I was up and down and up and down. It was a nice little roller coaster last week, but I ended up making some money. So I'm happy with that. I was in the money in some lineups. Mahomes, shout out to Patrick Mahomes. This guy's good at football. Who would have thought that Patrick Mahomes is good at football? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
You could just never go wrong with Patrick Mahomes in any lineup whatsoever. He just always finds a way. Definitely the magic man for fantasy.
He is definitely the magic man. And then we got an interesting Thursday night football game. I'm saying this, Dan, like you're surprised because the past couple of weeks I'm not interested at all. But tonight I'm interested, and that's because we got Jonathan Taylor playing, and he's got his haters now because he hasn't been that good. But I remember a year ago with Miles Sanders, and he wasn't that good in the first half of the year. Similar situation. It was a good situation. Sanders wasn't really doing much. People lost hope. Some people dropped him, and then he kind of won people some championships last year. So I'm going to play that corollary again. Second half of the year for rookie running backs. Second half of the year is here. COVID offseason, no preseason games. It's about week 8 right now for him. It's week 10, it's about week 8. So for our live stream listeners and viewers, I guess you should say, we're about to go into this single game showdown captain mode on DraftKings or FanDuel. But for people listening on the podcast, we are live right now on YouTube at 7 o'clock Eastern. You can find it at In the Money DFS podcast on YouTube. Subscribe there. Watch us. You can watch how the sausage is made, kind of, because we kind of, I mess things up a lot. I was gonna say we, but it's mainly me. But I got my Tua jersey on. The name of the chat is Justin Loves Tua. Oh, I love Tua. That's a preview for week 10 of who are playing at quarterback right there, Dan. But who are you playing tonight in the Thursday night slate?
I think I got to start with a disclaimer for our listeners that Justin is totally being a homer to start the show tonight. He is all Jonathan Taylor, all Tua, both bad fantasy plays this week, and we are starting with Thursday night. And then, we'll have some fun with Tua a little bit later.
Solo pod.
we will come back to Tua, I'm sure. That's a fun game we're going to talk about. But tonight, man, what makes you think there's any inclination or sign other than your second half hope that the rookie comes out of his shell, that he's going to be relevant tonight? Other than him possibly falling in the end zone, a 1-in-3 chance, I don't see it. I have no desire for an Indianapolis Colt running back tonight, especially in GPP. Cash, maybe.
See the unknown name that called me? That was Jonathan Taylor. I talked to him this morning.
Did they give you an inside tip that he might get some more carries tonight?
I do have an inside tip. Many GMs around the league have been telling me as well that Jonathan Taylor is due for a breakout game.
I don't know, man. He hasn't found that rhythm yet. And then even if he
I'm
does
just
find
saying
a little bit of a rhythm,
other GMs around the league have told me, people in their scouting departments, they're not really worried about him now. They say, okay, well, they're going to start worrying about Phillip Rivers throwing to Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton, but they're not going to worry about Jonathan Taylor, and then Jonathan Taylor's going to break one. Their main focus tonight is Trey Burton. It's not Jonathan Taylor.
I'm worried that he could even fall in the end zone because it might be Jordan Wilkins. It might be Naheem Hines. It might even be DeMichael Harris at 1,800 in DraftKings, who got a bunch of touches as they need to get speed on the field. Or it may be Trey Burton. I want nothing to do with it. Tonight, man, I think, on a little bit of a sad note, but you know how we find narratives.
Yeah,
I am on the Corey Davis train tonight, man. Lost his older brother. And you're going to tell me him playing tonight in a game that he probably doesn't have to play. I can guarantee you, the coaching staff and the whole team's rallying behind him and saying, man, if you don't play tonight, but he is playing and he's going to ball out. And I think he's going to be balling out, motivated for his brother. Attention's going to go to A.J. Brown. Jonnu Smith is having to chip and block a little bit more since Luan's out at left tackle. I think it could be a Corey Davis motivated play it for him. I'd be shocked if he doesn't at least get a touchdown, but I think he could have a good game tonight. So I'm liking Corey Davis, man, and on the narrative street there. Leaning a little bit more on some Tannehill, Brown, Davis type stacks. But this is going to be a good game. I mean, these are two teams battling for first place. Tennessee's 6-2. The Colts are 5-3. Tennessee's defense can let down. Maybe it's a Phillip Rivers night. This isn't a really tough defense or tough secondary. Rivers, when he plays the teams that aren't really built around speed, he might be able to do some decent stuff there. And, you might see a Michael Pittman coming out party tonight if we want to talk about second half rookies.
Dan. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think A.J. Brown's a beast. I think he's going to have a good game tonight. I think that Corey Davis, narrative street, I think he's going to have a good game as well. Unfortunately, that means Jonnu Smith probably is not going to have a great game tonight, but it wouldn't shock me if he did because we both love Jonnu Smith. It's been known in this podcast, but if you want to play these narratives, I just got a tweet. It said Mike Vrabel, as a player, once told quarterback Phillip Rivers in San Diego that, quote unquote, he isn't Drew Brees, won't be Drew Brees, and everyone knows it. So tonight, Phillip Rivers is he's something to prove that he's not Drew Brees. No, he's gonna. I like Phillip Rivers today. Over under for the game is 48.
Might have a chip on his shoulder. That's
a little
interesting.
Chip on his shoulder. 48.5, and anything over 48, I think, is a high scoring game. And so I do like that you mentioned the division is up for grabs. Both teams have been pretty good. I think Tennessee's a better offense, but Tennessee's defense can't stop Jonathan Taylor. So I'm playing Jonathan Taylor tonight. I don't care about Jordan Wilkins. I understand he's there. And after the fumble was lost by Jonathan Taylor last week, he got benched. But he's a rookie. You got to teach these kids what's good. I am a kid. I understand if I fumbled in a game, I would probably get benched.
But they said, the coaching staff never at one point said, take him out. They're fully behind Jonathan Taylor. I think as long as he doesn't fumble again, that was an issue a little bit in college there. So it could be a concern. Who thought in week 10 here we'd even be talking about Jordan Wilkins? I mean, we were expecting it to be the Taylor show, maybe worried about Marlon Mack earlier in the year. The Colts situation's been a wild one to follow. But
welcome to 2020, Dan. You can't expect anything. That's the moral of the story right there. You got to go with these bizarre plays, but I like the Tennessee triple stack.
Yeah,
you gotta have Phillip Rivers in your lineup.
I'm playing it a couple ways tonight. I'm playing it a few ways tonight. You know me. I like to take a lot of variation of lineups and try to hit some single game contests and hope one of them hit. I have the Corey Davis narrative street there. I had to at least take one King Henry lineup because I don't want to regret him going off because he could do that at any time.
Oh yeah, Derrick Henry's playing tonight.
Any place, right? That's probably the longest we'll ever go talking about a Tennessee game without mentioning Derrick Henry. I just think it shapes up a little bit better for the pass game. And again, without their left tackle, Henry's been a little bit quiet. But, I do have a Henry lineup. And then if it goes the other way with the Colts, I like Michael Pittman the most. But there's still that little part of me that I can't let go of T.Y. Hilton as bad as he's been this year. And I think the only other guy I didn't mention was Ferkser over there in Tennessee. He's been a little bit of a pass-catching tight end that's been playing well. Adam Humphries is out again tonight. And when Humphries been out, they've been going a lot of two tight end personnel. And then Jonnu's staying in to block or chip. So he could be a little sneaky cheap play. And kickers are relevant, Justin. Kickers are relevant tonight.
Rodrigo Blankenship. He's a beast.
Or Gostkowski. Depends which way you think
Gostkowski's been off. I don't know what's good with him, but that's the rundown of the that game. I don't want to spend too much time on this single game. It is a fun game. I'm hoping Jonathan Taylor has a good game. I know that you can't give up T.Y. Hilton. I mean, I don't know what it is with him and you. You got some special kind of connection type thing going on there. I mean, that's all you, man. But that's
Trying
why
to
you have
get
Michael
out.
Pittman, NFL pedigree. Michael Pittman. You like Michael Pittman Jr. and I think he's looked good last week back from injury. I did manage to get another share of Michael Pittman 2 weeks ago from your co-host John Bauer. He gifted me 2 first-round picks, Michael Pittman and Chase Edmonds for James Robinson. The dude loves James Robinson. He can't get enough James Robinson. He needs help. We need to have a therapy session for John Bauer. We just need to have it. But let's reel back in for the podcast listeners. All right. We have an exciting week. Before we get into that, we got to briefly go over what happened last week, what went right, what went wrong. Jerry Jeudy. We love garbage time. Garbage time is the best thing ever. You don't have to point me for Jerry Jeudy. I think he's good. I'm just not as high on him as you were saying number 1 wide receiver pre-draft. And then CeeDee Lamb went to your team. Then all of a sudden, you switched up so quickly. I saw a trade offer as soon as the draft happened. It was over. You sent away Jerry Jeudy for CeeDee Lamb just like that. And then I took CeeDee Lamb from you.
You know, and today here in week 10, Jeudy is the number 1 wide receiver in this class. You know, I mean, Dak's out. My Cowboy heart's broken. You see how good he looks. He is putting on a clinic. His only problem is Drew Lock right now is just sluggish. I'm just saying pure wide receiver. Like he's just the talent's there. The Denver offense just needs to improve. But
he's like 5 for me right now. This class is insane. I think we should preface that. CeeDee Lamb, awesome. Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins. Well, I guess he's 4. All right.
He's number 1.
I guess
if Drew Lock could only improve, I mean, he may not have the number 1 situation, but I'm just saying he's the number 1 wide receiver.
CeeDee Lamb's better than him. I'll put Dan. CeeDee Lamb's better than him. We're not gonna get into this though. This is DFS podcast, and Jerry Jeudy did do great last week. I don't want to keep the viewers up and us going back and forth about. I don't even like how the fact that has to defend your Cowboy over here. That's kind of messed up. I think that anyone who's a Cowboys fan and is trying to compare themselves to Dan, I think they're a better Cowboy fans than Dan at this point. This guy's taking Jerry Jeudy over his boy CeeDee Lamb. That's just disrespectful. I'm upset at you right now. But Terry McLaurin, this guy's good at football. I mean, that's one of my guys. I love me some scary Terry, some F1 McLaurin. He's great. He's fun to watch. He's a beast. You could never go wrong with Terry McLaurin.
Josh, you mentioned that last week was a roller coaster week. And, you know, Jeudy, McLaurin, we were on a good pace, you know, good path with those guys. They did well. If you talked to me during the 1 o'clock games last week, I was ready to like celebrate the In the Money podcast. I thought it was going to be rich. I had, and I think you were celebrating with me via some text messages, the Deshaun Watson to Brandon Cooks played back with DJ Shark. We were going off.
That was great for the first 5 minutes.
Oh, it was incredible. And then followed up with the Tennessee Titans $3,000 defense last week, scoring a defensive touchdown. I'm thinking, oh man, defense is scoring. They're going back and forth. And then the game hit a lull. But then there was some fireworks later and they came back again. And then it quieted down again. Like it had so much potential to go off. And then it went into the 4 o'clock games. And then I think that's when my dreams got shattered, when like James Conner officially just busted versus my Cowboys. The play all the dudes versus the Cowboys did not work last week. Conner was disappointed, and then Justin Jackson gets hurt like play 1, and it was a mess. It was a subpar week based on Conner, Justin Jackson getting hurt, and not having Dalvin Cook 2 weeks in a row. I did not learn my lesson. Just, you know, I might have had him like a lineup, Justin, but like I wasn't just heavy on him.
I think I did 11 lineups last week, which is my most ever in a while, and I think 4 of them had Dalvin Cook, so I was pretty happy with that.
I will say, like 2 weeks in a row, you had to have him.
Yeah, I will say,
or CMC last week.
Yeah, CMC as well. You were kind of off. I'm like, dude, Dan, come on, CMC. Dan doesn't understand who CMC is.
What were my words last week? I'd rather play down for Dalvin Cook for $300 less last week, and that was correct. But stubborn Dan tried to be contrarian and kind of go off down to Derrick Henry, and that just did not quite work out. You know, so where I went down to Henry, it was a bust, and Conner with him was a bust. Again, had some real good picks, but just still haven't put the 9 of them together yet.
You're just making the show go with the mood. You're like, oh, we suck. Well, guess what happened last week? Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, DK Metcalf, triple stack. We love it. You can never go wrong. I mean, that deserves a. That's a. I didn't mention Tua last week.
If it just had Dalvin Cook and all these lineups we talked about last week, it would have been a very profitable week.
Well, we're going to make week 10 a profitable week. Quarterback, starting it off. I already know who I'm going with. I love this guy. Not really. He sucks. He actually sucks. You said I had a stat about him 2 weeks ago. I didn't have no stat about Jared Goff because he sucks. But he's going against Seattle's defense that sucks more. So we're playing Jared Goff at quarterback, 6,500. I like it. I mean, anyone in Seattle, you just got to play. And the Rams, to help matters. Vegas also thinks they're going to do well. They had the 5th highest team implied total this week at 28.5. The over-under for the game is 55.5, which is just the highest on second highest. I lied. Second highest on the entire slate. So it's a high total, 55.5. Whew. It's very high, Dan.
Absolutely love your thinking there. You know,
And before you go off and list 18 quarterbacks in a row of who you like, I would like to point out one more guy before you take the roles. I'm playing both Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. That game is the highest over under. It's 56.5. Kyler Murray's a little more expensive. Josh Allen's a little bit $500 cheaper. I like doing that, stacking with the receiver of choice of obviously Hopkins or Diggs, but with Kyler Murray, you're also allowed to go with Christian Kirk now, who's been super, super efficient and pay down, and also backstack it with Stephon Diggs. I like those two guys a lot. Kyler Murray is an insane pace right now. The dude's a beast, little Ninja Turtle running around, a little midget running around. No, sorry, small person running around, just avoiding tackles everywhere. I mean, he's the opposite of me. I think I'm a foot taller than Kyler Murray, almost. I mean, this dude is short, and Josh Allen's just a gunslinger. But this dude is so fun to watch play football. I love watching Kyler Murray. I mean, I wish he kind of threw the ball more because he has such a pretty ball. Like the ball just looks so pretty coming out of his hands. I mean, I'm not a coach, Dan. You're a coach. You're actually the coach, Dan. So you got to tell me, Kyler Murray, his throwing motion is pretty good, right?
No, as a coach, I'd be loving Kyler Murray. You can do so much with him, man. He throws a beautiful deep ball. He could run. He could scramble. You know, a little vertically challenged, but outside of that, he overcomes and adapts and improvises, and he's just a playmaker. And kid's got heart, so I'd coach that kid any day. You're locked in, man. It might be like FF Coach Justin here. You're locked in the coaching zone. I
highlighted my Twitter handle.
Yeah, you might have to. Even though I love that Justin loves Tua there. I just noticed that. Spot out the creativity. I highlighted 2 games this week, and only 2. Most weeks I've been highlighting 3, 4, 5, and there are a couple other games I like, and I'll talk about them tonight. But especially love the Arizona-Buffalo game. I just think that's going to be an awesome, explosive game with 2 of the best fantasy football quarterbacks you could have in it. Playing in Arizona should be a nice, fast-paced game. Each team spreading it out. That should be a beauty. So I agree with you on Murray and Allen. I'm going to have lineups with both of them. I already, put a couple Millie Maker contests in there. The other one was L.A. and Seattle. And I just love that you could pay down. There's like 2 classes of quarterbacks. The pay up guys, which is the Allens and Murrays. And I'll throw Aaron Rodgers in there as a guy I like this week in that Green Bay versus Jacksonville game. And then you have the pay down crew, which is the Wentz, Burrow, your boy Tua, Locke, Goff. And I like Goff the most out of all of them. And you're looking at a game where they're at home versus Seattle, and everybody is torching that Seattle secondary. There's nothing to make me think it's going to be better this week. They're in L.A., and you give Coach McVay 2 weeks to prepare because they're off a bye. You're giving one of the best offensive minds in the NFL 2 weeks to prepare. I'm loving Jared Goff this week. So, big guy, we're on the same page. In that other low class, I guess there's 2 other guys I would mention that I'd look at quarterback this week. One is Carson Wentz at 5,900. He's even lower than Goff. I mean, you could fit a lot into your lineup with a Wentz stack that we'll talk about later when we get to stacks. So I'm liking him a lot. He could run a little bit. And I'm also kind of just thinking about a Tom Brady revenge game. 6,300. You got a Hall of Fame quarterback that's just going to be ticked off after being embarrassed in a primetime game versus the Saints last week. And I just can't see Tom Brady with all those weapons of, Evans, Godwin, Brown, Uncle Lenny. I could see Tom Brady bouncing back versus a weak Carolina defense.
Yes, I agree. And I'm only saying I agree because I heard the name Tua, and then I just zoned out and was only thinking about Tua until you just got done talking right there. So I love Tua. I think Tua is amazing. I mean, this guy.
Surprise.
He looks good. Last week was fun to watch. I like to see the mobility out of him. He made Buda Baker.
Large sample size of one game.
I love the large sample size of one game. It was beautiful. He made plays. He extended drives. He made Buda Baker the highest paid safety in the league look like he was lost out there. He had to use GPS to relocate back onto the field after he juked him out of his shoes. His ankles were gone. Tua is a baller, man, and he's got no one to really throw to other than Devontae Parker and Matt Collins. So I like Tua. DFS is tough because you want to have a stack, and I'd only stack him with Parker. a little contrarian with Jakeem Grant, your boy Jakeem Grant. Jakeem Grant's great. But
why are you stealing my thunder? Oh, but we're not even talking about stacks tonight. You're stealing my thunder here. Come on, dude.
I
You're
just
getting ahead
love
of yourself.
Tua.
Are we talking about quarterbacks? I thought we were talking about
Yeah.
quarterbacks
So
here.
quarterbacks, and so the Washington football team is going against Detroit, and Detroit has given up the 6th most points to fantasy quarterbacks. You want a cheap play at quarterbacks?
Stop it. Come on.
Alex Smith, check down
Come on.
King Alex Smith. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. 5,200. It's great.
Oof.
I like the price, and I like the triple stack option with this.
I know where you're going, but it's not stack. You got to save that for stacks later. If you're
But
that would be a great GPP stack. So
okay, well, I like Alex Smith though, and then going to wide receivers, I love me some Terry McLaurin this week. Oh, every week's Terry McLaurin week, I think 6,800. He's like one of the only guys that I love that's actually doing well this year. So I'm happy to say, Terry McLaurin, thank you so much. He's actually my dad. My dad's not Paul FSFF. My dad's actually Terry McLaurin this year. Terry McLaurin is taking over the Rams for that, and he's definitely been making me happy. And 6,800, it's a good price point. I don't think I have to tell the viewers of what Terry McLaurin's doing. Just go on YouTube, look up Terry McLaurin, Week 9. And you'll see what he did to this Giants defense, which is pretty good, by the way. It's a lot better than Dallas's defense. I'm only saying this because my dad told me that they always talk some trash to the Cowboys, but the Giants suck. All right,
we will get the Giants back there. The revenge game's coming. You know, Dallas they're going. They went from like awesome to terrible to we're almost mediocre again. So, but by the time we play the Giants, we'll be average and. Revenge games coming. But hey, some receivers I like, man. You look at these quarterbacks we love, and I think quarterbacks are the window to the running backs and receivers. And Cooper Kupp, Bobby Woods, 69 and 6,600 respectively in DraftKings. Don't forget about Josh Reynolds at 3,500. Could be a nice bargain there to be a little contrarian, kind of watching Cooper Kupp's health as we go into this game. Love Jalen Reagor, man. Is just a play off of Fulgham. Instead of spending up 6,400, you get Reagor at 4,200. He's healthy finally. He's been explosive when he's played. I think he's a nice bargain wide receiver. With McLaurin, Christian Kirk, man, we're liking Kyler Murray, 5,700. Christian Kirk just looks like the real deal in recent weeks. I think Hopkins is going to continue to get the attention. I think Christian Kirk's going to keep on eating there. You mentioned Devontae Parker at 5,000. I think he could get a lot of targets there. And Jakeem Grant, man, you stole my thunder. 3,000. That is the pump play of the week. He's getting the slot work there. Preston Williams is out. I'm going to say Jakeem Grant's even better than your boy Gesicki when we get to tight ends. I knew I'd get that look from you.
Dan, I'm looking at I was just laughing over here. How is DJ Moore 5,100?
DJ Moore, 5,100. You know why? Because he's probably going to be shadowed by Carlton Davis in Tampa Bay, and Carlton's been locked down, shut down.
Yeah, it's been locked down.
If that's how he played, but he could go on Robbie Anderson too.
That's what he should do. I like.
Although last week Tampa's defense was not Tampa's defense, so I'm not sure. But that is a good price for DJ Moore. That's a good GPP play.
5,800. Another guy.
That Brady lineup I was talking to him on.
I got a piece for your Brady lineup that could make it all nice, but there's a guy named Antonio Brown who we all know has his problems, but he did lead the team in air yards last week in his first game there. His first game back in football action in a long time. This dude led the team in air yards, and Tom Brady was looking for him on some deep plays. And let me tell you, you want to play narrative streets all the time, Dan. We got this dude living at his house still. We got to remind the people this dude is in his house. He's on a TV12 program.
He's got a nice price too of 5,800. I like your narrative straight of living with Tom. Tom's going to be mad and have a bounce back game. They have another now. Brown's he'll get his legs under him a little bit more with one game under the belt, and then also Mike Evans, man, at 6,300. Really not much more. I know Coach Arian says, hey, Mike Evans was open last week and Tom wasn't seeing him. So there could be something there. I can see Tom sprinkling a lot of footballs to both of these guys in a fun game to watch in Carolina with an over-under of, I believe, 50.5.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. And now I mentioned Stephon Diggs. You got to play Diggs. I think this dude's just a target beast. Keenan Allen also a target beast, but he's going to be. I think Xavier Howard should be shadowing Keenan Allen this week. I'd hope he is, and that's going to make it for an interesting little matchup right there. Unlike Kyler Murray, though, I don't think Justin Herbert's going to shy away from targeting his best player just because Xavier Howard's on him. I understand that Xavier's a lockdown corner, and it's hard to get a lot of balls until because he's very good. I mean, you talk about coaching, Dan. I think you love to coach a guy like Xavier Howard. So he's got a little bit of head problems there and there, but he's a lockdown corner.
That Miami defense is looking good. That secondary is looking good. Howard's good. Byron Jones is good. It makes every week interesting. It's a challenge for wide receivers. Keenan Allen's gonna get his targets. I mean, him and Herbert have been just awesome together this year. I definitely like Keenan Allen at 7,100, but I'd say more for cash based on that volume than a GPP breakout based on a more difficult matchup. So I'm kind of shying away there and looking at some of those other plays we're talking about.
Did you mention Bobby Forrest?
Yes, I did, man. They were my first ones, Cup and Woods.
Double down on that. I don't like Cup like that much. I think we're getting to the stack portion yet, but
slot receivers versus Seattle. That's why I like Cup. I think they both have beautiful matchups. Love them both. And then Smokey Brown too is a play as long as he's healthy, and I believe he is right now. I think Diggs does have a little bit of a competitive matchup there, so Smokey Brown could be a sneaky play at 53.
There is no such thing as a competitive matchup for Stephon Diggs, all right?
Patrick Peterson, I'm just saying he's got
Patrick Peterson's gonna eat his dust the whole night. It's just it's not gonna be close. It's gonna be a complete disaster for Patrick Peterson. He's gonna rethink why he's a cornerback in the NFL after this matchup.
You just love
your my guys.
It was a homer episode for you tonight. DJ Moore, Steph Diggs.
It is, but they're good at football, Dan. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's just there. I like the Rager play too. Rager over Fulgham as a pivot. I think it's the smartest thing you said, other than saying Tua earlier in the podcast. I do like Fulgham solid. I mean, Jeffrey's coming back. Godaire's coming back. So interesting to see how the targets distribute and who gets to earn them. So we're going to find out if Carson Wentz actually likes Rager a lot or if he actually likes Fulgham a lot still. So this is kind of like a prove-it game for Fulgham in a way.
It is. Both
I think it's legit. Yeah.
I like that value savings on Rager though. So I'm gonna go that way.
100% agree. Now going on to the running back position. I've been waiting to say this guy's name. Wow, because he hasn't been healthy the past couple of weeks. He's kind of like,
here it comes.
Boy, it's homer episode. It's Miles Sanders week, baby. 6,400 against the Giants. Oh, we're playing Miles. And Lane Johnson's back. And Jason Peters is back. Oh, we are playing Miles Sanders. Yes.
You know what? Our three-man this week versus Mitch. I'm just going to put up a lineup of like Tua, DJ Moore, Miles Sanders, Stephon Diggs. I've got your lineup already. It'll become like a 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3 there is whatever's left to pick. But, hey, I like the game. I like the matchup. Miles is definitely in play. He's finally healthy. He could be kind of forgotten about right now as he's not a name that's been talked about at this point in the week. And that could be a marquee play, Justin. So I could believe in that. And I think
I'm more than believing it. I'm having a vision right now. It's Miles Sanders going for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. I'm good with that.
I don't know 3 touchdowns, but I can see the 100 yards and a bunch of catches and definitely a 20-plus point fantasy game, which at 6,400, you're going to get some value there. So I'm with you on Miles. We all know it's also a free square Mike Davis week, who was mispriced at 4,000. McCaffrey's officially out. So, I mean, you want to build value into your lineup. He's going to be 40, 50% owned. It's not, some people will say not the best matchup versus Tampa Bay, but it don't matter at 4,000. It allows you to do so many things in your lineup. So I like Davis at 4,000. And then there's some other value guys. There's a lot of value guys this week. McKissick, which I don't know, you probably like it. I'm sure that's where you were going with Washington stack potential there at 4,900. Antonio Gibson's out, so he's getting a ton of catches. Mr. Checkdown Alex Smith will like him, and he's been playing decent, McKissick. My sneaky play this week, man, is Duke Johnson. As long as David Johnson's still potentially out, he's only 5K. He's getting volume now.
Johnson's not going to play Sunday, by the way. He didn't practice today, and they're not going to rush him back, so I love that Duke Johnson mentioned by you. Revenge
game versus former team Cleveland. He was not happy in Cleveland, and he's getting a lot of volume now. And he looked decent last week. So at 5K, you're getting a feature back at 5K. I like me some Duke Johnson. Maybe that's a contrarian play off of Mike Davis. And I mean, Mike Davis is just so cheap, but so it's tough to stay away from him. But I'll have variations of all those guys in my lineups. And if I'm paying up, man, Aaron Jones is probably one of my favorites. He's total chalk, but at 7,100, I just think he's got a great
I don't think you can avoid Aaron Jones. You could, but you shouldn't because he's good at football. And then I'm going to mention JB's boy. James Robinson this
James
week
Robinson.
against Green Bay, whose defense is not that great against the run. You've seen what a lot of running backs been able to do to him this year. I like that. Chase Edmonds bounce back game. He got the volume last week. I'm not worried about the stats necessarily because Miami's defense is legit, and Buffalo's is kind of shockingly not that great this year, which is interesting because usually they are a top end defense, but this year they're kind of middle of the pack. Not an awful defense, but I believe that Chase Edmonds with the volume he did get last week, you can look at the signals. The signals were there. He's a workhorse last week.
I noted Chase at 6,300. Just wondering how much of a role Kenyon Drake will eat into that. I believe Drake is coming back this week.
Yeah, Drake sucks.
I put a little asterisk. Hey, come
Sorry,
on.
Drake. I like Kenyon Drake. I just don't.
I need Kenyon Drake to be back in one of my leagues.
Yeah. Oh, Dan, you're wishful. You're wishful thinking over here because Chase Evans is here to stay. DeAndre Swift 5,100. Yes, it's a tough matchup, a little contrarian play. I think DeAndre Swift just gets the high value touches in that offense, and hopefully Matt Patricia decides to open his eyes and say, "Oh wait, I shouldn't even play Kerryon Johnson or Peterson." Because
it's got to be like
the truth.
It's got to be like a cash play there. At 5,100, he's nice. I took a note on him. I know like Al Smizzle's been kind of pumping him up this week, but I just want nothing to do with that Detroit lineup, man. And Al Smizzle knows his stuff there, man. He's one of my favorite guys to listen to, but he's got to be thinking cash because GPP. I need more volume than that and more upside. I mean, to have faith in Patricia giving him what he deserves, I just don't have that faith.
Do you have faith in Miles Sanders?
He's an Eagle, so I can't talk too kindly of him, but he's on my list. He's on my list.
All right, I'll take that. I'll take it.
And maybe James Conner bounces back. I'm mad at James Conner because he crushed me last week. Like, I know Pittsburgh fell behind and they felt like they had to throw, but I've watched Dallas defense for 9 weeks. They could have went back to James Conner, and they refused to in a smash spot. So I'm a little bit mad, but I'm trying not to let my anger get in the way, and I will consider James Conner as well next week. He could be a nice play again, as I think Pittsburgh will get back to the run versus Cincinnati at home, 7-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. And a tight end, it does make a lot of sense to me to stick with the Eagles, I guess, because Dallas Goedert coming back 4,200. It's just too cheap for me to pass up against the Giants defense. And Dallas Goedert, you saw him when he did week 1 with that 20+% target share, 100+ yards. First game back from injury last week, didn't really do much, but that happens with a lot of guys who come back from injury. You're not gonna, go back to where you were before it. You're gonna, it's a nice little like transition week last week. This is the week though. Dallas Goedert, 4,200. Lock it in.
I'd rather go up $200 or $300 more to either Ebron at 4,400 or most preferably Evan Ingram at 4,500. Evan Ingram's been flashing, man. You want to talk about the coach of me again? The last couple of games, he is making the hard catches that, maybe he has some concentration laps, weeks prior to that. They're utilizing him differently. They're moving him around. He's running all kinds of routes. I'm liking Evan Ingram a lot at 4,500 with just a very high ceiling.
I like Evan Ingram as well. It's a good point. Good mention. I'm just trying to give people cheaper options. I know you like to read through the whole entire roster, Dan. But
that is cheap. 4,500. That's
I did cheaper. I did 4,200. That's $300 savings.
If you want to go in savings mode, then maybe I go down to Austin Hooper.
That's what I was going to say. Oh, it was already up on the screen right here. It's already Austin Hooper, 3,900. He's coming back from his appendicitis. I mean, it's tough to recover from, but he's back against Houston. Smash spot, 3,900. No Odell Beckham. I'm riding in the Austin Hooper train. Austin Hooper, Dallas Goedert, my two guys, and Evan Ingram I'll sprinkle in there as well. Eric Ebron, solid option, 4,400. And then Logan Thomas is always interesting. It's tough, 3,300, but he's always interesting because he does have great usage. It's just the numbers aren't really like there all the time. It's always frustrating to play, but he could be a million maker winner.
He's got the athleticism and some upside, so you can't ignore him. I don't see him in really many or any lineups. I'm not sure. Waller's enticing, paying up if you are going to pay up at 5,900. I like that Vegas Denver game, 50.5 over under. Waller's enticing as well.
Yeah. Now, defenses, Dan. Last week we hit with the Tennessee Titans defense. Miami's defense is always in play, even though it is a tough matchup again against Justin Herbert, who's lighting up rookie v. rookie. Maybe Justin Herbert's a little angry the Dolphins didn't choose him. I don't know. You can make your narratives here. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch the Dolphins take on the Chargers, and hopefully Dolphins move to 6-3. That would be a crazy scene. I kind of don't even want it to happen. I kind of want better draft picks so we can get a possibility of getting Jamar Chase. but I don't think it's going to happen now with the 5 wins already on the total, Dan. So this game's going to be a shootout. I don't see it going either way with Dolphins and Chargers, or it could be the opposite of a shootout and a snooze fest. But you can't have a snooze fest when you have Tua Tagovailoa versus Justin Herbert. It's just not possible. I don't think it's possible, Dan. But the best defense, I like this week, is paying up for the Packers defense at 3,700. They're 13.5-point favorites against the Jaguars. Yes, Lutton looked fine last week, but I'm going with the Packers.
Miami's interesting that you mentioned them because I'm surprised they're as low as they are at 2,800, and they've been a very good defense that's scoring points. They're still going against a rookie quarterback. This is going to be Herbert's one of his better challenges. So they are enticing. Green Bay, I think, is a solid play. They weren't on my top list. I'm primarily riding 2 teams, neither Miami nor Green Bay. Although if I'm in one of those lineups where I'm squeezing every dollar, I could see Miami sneaking into my lineups. I love New Orleans versus San Francisco at 3,000 just because San Francisco's kind of been a mess. New Orleans is hot. They're at home. Again, it's Nick Mullins. This could easily make some mistakes. So I love New Orleans at 3,000, but they are so chalky. I'm tempted to pay up where I can, and there are some lineups where I've already been kind of messing around where you could pay up on defense and go with the Philadelphia Eagles at 3,600 versus Danny Mistake Dimes there, who's due for some mistakes. And I just think the Eagles have a good defensive coordinator. Their offense is finally getting healthy. I could see them having a statement game this weekend.
I like that. I want to mention the Raiders too at 2,500. I think that's a very good price for a Raiders defense just because they are 4.5-point favorites. No, 5.5-point favorites over Denver Broncos. It's a high over-under. You know, Drew Lock likes to throw the ball deep a lot, and he's not the most accurate quarterback in the world, so lots of interception opportunities. I do like the Raiders defense at 2,500. I think that's a great price. They're one of the cheapest priced defenses on the entire slate, and they're also favorites. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, really, but I'm not questioning it.
They're at home. They're just a bad defense. That's the problem.
But even bad defenses can make some interceptions here and there, Dan.
That's true. I mean, hey, Drew Lock's going to be bad for 3.5 quarters. Until it's garbage time, and then he lights it up, and Judy puts on a clinic, and so forth. But meh. I mean,
it's a cheap one. Yeah, 2,500 play. 2,500. I'm not saying number one defense. I already said my number one defense, Dan. This is a cheap option for people who are stingy with the money.
That's fair enough. It's
making it seem like I'm putting them in every single lineup. No, I'm not putting the Raiders defense in every single lineup. Dan, I'm not Mitch over here. I'm not that. Oh, come on. You can't say this. But stack of the week time. It's time to stack it up. And of course, this weekly stack is brought to you by Tua Tagovailoa with Jakeem Grant. GPP stack. I mean, I love it. I love Tua. He's my guy. And I also, it wouldn't be a In the Money Defense podcast if I had to mention a Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack, run it back with DeAndre Hopkins or Christian Kirk trying to save money because I know that Hopkins can be a little pricey. That's my go-to. And before I take your other stack, what's your stack of the week?
Stack of the week, man. There's so many good. There's a few good stacks. What's nice is you could play any stack you want and afford it this week. There's a lot of ways to go. Love Goff, Woods, Cup, DK Metcalf. That is an explosive stack there that I'm super.
That's the one I was hoping you'd say that I didn't have to say. That's the one I didn't want to steal. And yeah, I love that one right there.
I think that's the In the Money stack of the week there, man. And 2 other stacks I mentioned. One is Carson Wentz with Rager and Ingram. And again, I just think Wentz and Rager is going to take off. And it allows you to spend up so much more in your lineup. And then just Arizona, Buffalo stacks in general. Play them any which way, both ways, sideways, have a ball, man. I'm going to have a lot of builds around those 2 teams.
I like that. My last stack of the week I'm going to give the listeners is Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, James Robinson. I like it. I mean, it's not going to be a smash spot for Jacksonville. Obviously, they're 14.5-point underdogs, but James Robinson's going to get his touches. He's going to get his targets out of the backfield, and I believe that the Green Bay defense is very explosible. So, and then you got Devontae Adams. I shouldn't have to mention why I'm stacking Rodgers with Devontae Adams. I mean, that's just they got the chemistry. So that's the stack of the week. So anything else you want to add, Dan, before we get out of here? We once again made it underneath the 40-minute time frame. We're doing great on time. The viewers are getting the picks and plays of the week. It's a beautiful sight.
I think we're locked in today, man. Some good chemistry. We're on the same wavelength. Again, hopefully gave each other a couple other options to listen to and gave our listeners some good direction as we go into week 10, man. Millie Maker, week 10, we're taking it down.
Yes. Dan is taking it down. I'm going to take it down over him. My dream scenario would be me finishing first place in Million Maker, Dan finishing second place, and then me having that over him for the rest of his life, and then just laughing at him. But that'd be great for the In the Money podcast.
With a lineup of Tua, Miles Sanders,
with a
DJ
lineup
Moore,
of Tua, oh, that would
Diggs.
you would see me. I don't even know what I'd do. That would be the. I don't even know what I'd do if I have all my guys and happen to win.
I'm calling that the Justin lineup. I might play the Justin Loves Tua lineup this week, and
Justin Loves Tua.
I'll play all your dudes. Yeah.
It's not a bad idea, Dan. You can follow Dan on Twitter at FFCoachDan, my Twitter at Justin_FFB, the podcast Twitter at InTheMoneyDFS_. Subscribe if you guys are new. Check us out on YouTube. Once again, we go live every Thursday around 7 o'clock Eastern time, going over to single game slate, and you get to see our beautiful faces and us argue back and forth and yell at each other. Our faces get red. My Tua jersey, me drinking water constantly, Dan figuring out his AirPods. There's a lot of things you can get to see on the screen if you're not watching. So definitely go check us out on YouTube. Follow us out there. Subscribe if you're new once again. And we'll see you guys next time.